Well, I don't know if it's a brothel.
It's a brothel.
It's like a bar where some people enact in sexual activities, okay? But it's like a bar.
That's a brothel.
This is Kelly coming at you with a special little bonus episode of sorts. Right now it's just me, and I have a special guest with me who I will introduce in just one moment. But Nikki could not be here because at the time of this being recorded, she's in Toronto, and Tilly is taking a little step back, as you will have already heard about for our season 3. So right now it's just me and my special guest who, without further ado, today I'm talking to my husband, Scott. Say hello, Scott.
Hey, everybody.
So this is our first man on the podcast. How does that make you feel?
Good, I guess. I hadn't really thought of it, but yeah, I guess I'm the first, aren't I?
I mean, we had to start somewhere, right? We had to get a guy on somehow. So I managed to get my husband to join us. I say us because Nikki will be joining us later. But this is just a quick little introduction of a fun project that I thought we could embark on. So before we get into that, why don't you just introduce yourself, Scott? Who are you? What do you do? What do you like to do? Do you like to read? Let us know.
Okay, well, I'm Kelly's husband. I don't read that often, to be honest. I mean, so far we're like, what, in August? And I've only read like one book
It's September.
Oh,
it's September.
It is September, isn't it? Okay. Well, anyways, yeah, so I wouldn't say I'm the most avid reader. It's not like I never read, but yeah, it's not something.
I mean, you don't really read, and that's okay. Like, I'm not here to shame you. I'm just laying the groundwork, okay? Yeah. So he has read one book this year, which I'm very happy for you, and you enjoyed it, so that's good.
It was pretty good. Yeah, nonfiction, but yeah.
So what do you enjoy? What do you enjoy? What do you enjoy?
I mean, I've been really into basketball lately. I've been shooting a lot of hoops. I like playing video games from time to time, although I wouldn't say I'm like a hardcore gamer either. I am really into Magic the Gathering. That's sort of like a big hobby for me.
Yeah.
I do play guitar from time to time. So yeah, that's kind of what I do in my spare time.
Cool. I mean, I already know this, but just want people to get to know who you are, because I'm sure, well, I know they've heard little bits about you from me throughout the episodes, but here's a better picture of who this guy is. So I was talking to Scott one day and I was like, you need to read a book that I've read, because in the past we tried doing The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. You read like maybe till chapter 7?
Yeah, and it wasn't that I hated the book or like hated the story. It's just like I kind of saw where things were going, and it wasn't as, I don't know, captivating.
It's a romance.
I know. I don't know. It wasn't 100% for me, and I'm sorry. I know you really enjoyed that book. So.
That's fine. Whatever. It's totally fine. But so that was our first failed attempt, and I was not reading along with him. I have already read the book, loved it, read the whole series. We did an episode on it, all this stuff. But I was like, you know what? I want you to read a book that I am obsessed with. And if you've listened to any of our episodes, you already know where I'm going to go with this. I have challenged Scott to read in its entirety From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Am I scared? Yes. Am I excited? Yes. But
what's so scary?
I'm worried you're not going to finish it. You're going to go to like chapter 4 and be like, well, I don't know. I don't like this. So I want you to read it with me. This is going to be like my 4th or 5th time reading this book, okay?
Wow.
Yeah. So look at my tabs. Look at my tabs.
I don't know if you're going to upload a picture of this, but there's tabs everywhere. There's got to be like 100 tabs in that book.
Well, and I stopped near the end because this was one of my rereads that I read right before we recorded an episode, so I just ran out of time and I didn't tab the rest. But I'm gonna let you read my annotated copy. How lucky, how fortunate for you. There's, oh my gosh, there's a key in the front that tells you what every color means.
Okay.
You're welcome. But I had to be fair. I couldn't just be like, Scott, you're gonna read my favorite book. That's it. And we're gonna record about it and all this stuff. So why don't you explain what I'm going to try to do?
Okay, so I mentioned earlier I was really into Magic, the Gathering, the card game. And it's something that I've been playing for years. I got into it in university with a bunch of my roommates and a bunch of my friends. And I've just kind of kept playing with a bunch of friends around here. And yeah, so I've tried a couple times to get Kelly into the game. And it's been a challenge. It really hasn't been her thing.
No.
There's a lot, to be fair, like it is kind of a complicated game. There's a lot of math. There's a lot of like rules.
Yeah.
And, like,
and when you don't tell me the rules, and you're just like, well, you can't do that. And I'm like, but I want to. I want to kill everything in front of me. And he's like, well, you can't do that because of this hidden rule that you didn't know about. Like, okay. So
I'm going to try to get Kelly into this game in a way that's a little more beginner friendly. I think we're going to start off with the video game version.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have like an online client, Magic Arena. So I think we're going to start there.
Am I playing against real people?
Not
They're
at
gonna
first.
Chat with me and be like, you noob.
There's no chat. It's fine. You'll be fine. But yeah, like I would like to get to the spot where we could like, you know, play a couple pickup games or whatever once in a while.
Yeah, like at least be like, hey, Kelly, do you want to play Magic with me for like half an hour? And I'm not like, ugh, I guess I'll try, you know? Because I don't know if I can get into it the way you're into it. Like,
no.
This guy has like thousands of cards.
Honestly, I don't know if we could afford for you to get into it the way I'm into it.
I've got my books, okay, and that's enough. That is more than enough. But, yeah, so we're going to give this a go. I have no idea. Well, I've played Magic, like, briefly, but again, I don't know what I'm doing. But we need some parameters, okay? So my parameters for you with this book is you must finish the book. We're going to check in with each other after each section. I've divided it into 3 sections. If that's too little for you, like if you need smaller sections, I can do it again. Don't worry, I got you. But we will finish it. After each section, we're going to talk about what we read because I want to know that you're actually reading it. Yeah. And I want to hear your thoughts. I'm so curious.
It. Like, I'm not going to like say, oh, I read chapter 50 and like.
Yeah, but okay, when I say talk, I mean, I want to be like, oh my God, what did you think about this moment in this part when this happened? And then she said this and he did that. I don't want to hear, yeah, it was cool. I want to hear, what did you think? What happened?
That would totally be, that's a Scott response.
Yes. So I want some discussion, okay? Some conversation. Imagine we're dating again and you're like, I got to read this book because this girl loves it. I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, you know my thoughts on that. You know, just because you're married doesn't mean you stop dating.
Thank you. Thank you. He's taken, ladies. Okay, so what are your parameters for me for Magic the Gathering?
I haven't really given it a lot of thought other than I want to start playing a version of the game that's very beginner friendly, and I think the video game's probably the most beginner friendly.
Okay.
But I would like to get to the point where you're coming up with your own decks and your own deck ideas. I think it'd be cool for you to like get into the deck building process and build something that you like and build something that you think is cool.
Yeah, and not with all these creepy looking dudes. I mean, some could be creepy, but I still want them to be cool.
Yeah, you could do, I don't know what kind of creatures you want to build around or what kind of different archetypes, but we can just, you know, introduce you to a lot of different mechanics and a lot of different types of, you know, decks that you can build and whatnot. And
okay.
Yeah.
So like Magic 101, basically.
Yeah, well, like
going back to
obviously,
school.
Yeah, the first thing will be trying to get the rules down. And I think you have like kind of an understanding of some of the rules, but not everything.
Okay, because like we've talked about this before, I love fantasy movies, some books, TV shows, We watch them together. We don't read them together, obviously, as we already know. But we watch things together and we enjoy them. But then when I look at these cards and hear about the game, I'm like, I just don't know. I think I'd rather read about this character or watch it. So this will be interesting for me to see, like, can I enjoy this? I don't know. Because we're also trying to do D&D with Nikki Tilly and Tilly's partner. So that's kind of like the same spot for me where I'm like, I love fantasy. Will I enjoy playing this game? I don't know. Yeah. Let's try.
I mean, to be fair, like it's made by the same company that owns the rights to Dungeons and Dragons. I think the inventors of the games were different people. But yeah, it's like similar in the sense that it's a fantasy game with a lot of rules that people play typically in a group. But it's different in a lot of ways too, because I don't know. I guess it's hard to compare the two because we just started our D&D campaign. Like we have really...
not rolled a die. We have.
I mean, we have, but just like we've got a long way to go there. So I don't know, but
okay. Do we have a time frame? I don't know. I want to get this book read ASAP because I love the book. Okay. So maybe like before the end of the year.
I mean, I'm really excited to get to the point where you can play and I can play together. So I'm motivated, honestly. Like, I kind of want to get through this.
Well, okay, my dream for this is that you love this book and you're like, Kelly, can I read the next one? And I'll say, yes, you can. Let's read it together.
So I remember some things that you told me about this book, but I don't really remember, like, the whole premise. So
oh my gosh, do you want me to read you the synopsis or do you want to go in blind?
Okay, well, how about we do this? So I think blood and ash are kind of referring to characters, right?
I mean, you could say that, I guess, but like I never thought of it like that, but you could think about it like that.
Yeah, because it gives me the same vibe as like a Song of Ice and Fire, like ice and...
Well, if you're expecting Game of Thrones, you're going to be really disappointed.
Okay, well, like Ice and Fire are referring to who's it, Daenerys and Jon Snow.
Yeah.
So like is blood, like ash, is that like referring to some sort of a character? Like is it like a metaphor kind of like that?
Sort of, like, okay, I don't want to spoil anything. From Blood and Ash is a phrase that is said in the book, and it means something important.
Okay.
But you could also see it as, like, blood is the girl, because she was born the maiden, okay? Right. She's got this bloodline, whatever, if you will. Ash, you could see it as the hero. I will not say who.
Okay.
For reasons. But... you could look at it like that.
Okay, because I seem to remember you mentioning that at some point when we were talking about it.
At least once. Yeah. I freaking love this series, Scott, okay?
And I do know it's a romance.
Yes,
and I do know
a fantasy romance.
It's a fantasy. But, like, so blood is referring to a bloodline, and it doesn't have anything to do with, like, vampires or anything, does it? Maybe it does?
I don't know. I can't say, Scott. I don't want to give anything away.
Okay.
There's all sorts of creatures in there. There's like kind of vampires, but not really.
Oh, okay.
There's like zombies, but not really.
Gotcha.
There's all sorts of fun stuff. But basically, all you need to know is this girl, Poppy, has been born the maiden. She is born into this religious idol figure where she is like kept away from everyone. No one knows what she looks like. She can't experience pleasure. She can't go out and do things. Nothing, okay? And shit goes down. And it's amazing. I love it so much. There are 4 books right now. There will be 2 more, and there's a companion series. So hit me up. You know where to find me if you want to read more. But I freaking love it.
All right. Well, why don't you read me the synopsis, and then we can...
Okay, then we better wrap this up because this was supposed to be a little intro, but you know what? I think we're having fun. It's okay. So, okay, this is the synopsis for the first book. Chosen from birth to usher in a new era, Poppy's life has never been her own. The life of the maiden is solitary, never to be touched, never to be looked upon, never to be spoken to, never to experience pleasure. Waiting for the day of her ascension, she would rather be with the guards, fighting back the evil that took her family, than preparing to be found worthy by the gods. But the choice has never been hers. The entire kingdom's future rests on Poppy's shoulders, something she's not even quite sure she wants for herself, because a maiden has a heart and a soul and longing. And when Hawk, a golden-eyed guard honor-bound to ensure her ascension, enters her life, destiny and duty become tangled with desire and need. We've already heard desire, like, twice or something, just saying. He incites her anger, makes her question everything she believes in, and tempts her with the forbidden. Forsaken by the gods and feared by mortals, a fallen kingdom is rising once more, determined to take back what they believe is theirs through violence and vengeance. And as the shadow of those cursed draws closer, the line between what is forbidden and what is right becomes blurred. Poppy is not only on the verge of losing her heart and being found unworthy by the gods, but also her life when every blood-soaked thread that holds her world together begins to unravel. Dun dun dun! There's romance, there's action in like the romantic sense, but also the violent sense. Like, she's a badass, Scott. She freaking kills people all the time. It's great. Okay. Future Halloween costume. I've already talked about this so many times with Nikki and Tilly. Okay. I freaking love her. So I hope you also love it because I just think it would be fun. And then who knows, listeners, maybe this will become a thing where we're like, my husband and I read ACOTAR or we read something else or like, who knows? I know we'd like to do a horror book at some point because I know you love horror.
Yes.
And Nikki loves horror and I don't mind reading horror. I would rather read it than watch it. So I say, why not? Let's go for it. Are you ready?
I think so.
All right. We'll check back in later. And I hope everyone has a great day. I hope I can understand the rules of Magic the Gathering. I hope Scott loves this book. We're checking in because Scott finally finished the first section of the book. So that is until the beginning of chapter 13 or 16?
At the beginning of chapter 15, sorry.
Okay. So, like we said in our intro, Scott is reading this book with me because I love it, and in exchange, I'm learning how to play Magic the Gathering. So for my part of the deal, I have been playing, and I've been trying to balance playing Magic and reading the book, because it's not fair if I play like 10 hours of Magic, and you're only going to read like an hour of the book or whatever. So right. I try to make it about the same, and I think it's going pretty well so far.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you're probably spending a little more time than I am on your end of the bargain.
Oh, can you say that one more time? Thank you. I thought so, but...
I mean, I have been reading it, though. And yes. I have been enjoying it so far. It's been pretty good.
Well, okay. Well, perfect segue, because since I've already read it so many times, I've already done a whole episode on this with Nikki and Tilly.
Okay.
I would love for you to give the listeners a quick synopsis of what you have read thus far.
Oh, geez. Okay. So the main character, Poppy, she's awaiting ascension. Mm-hmm. And I guess she is chosen by the gods to, I don't know, I guess...
Nobody knows.
Yeah, it's very, like, ambiguous what ascension really means. But I think it's related to, like, they keep on talking about these, like, vampire-like creatures called, like, Atlanteans. So I don't know if maybe it's, like, related to that, but those who like have been ascended, they come back and they look different, right? They come back and their eyes are all black and they're all pale and they're all like weird looking.
Yeah.
They're just like, I don't know, it's kind of got some gothic horror, like creepy vibes to it, which I kind of enjoy.
So I will just say the Atlanteans and Ascended are two separate things.
Okay. I wasn't sure if maybe there'd be a twist where they were like all the same thing.
Well, I won't tell you what the twists are because that's not fun, but also no. Okay. They're two separate things.
Perfect. All right. So besides that, toward the beginning of the book, we see like Poppy leads a very sheltered, secluded life. Mm-hmm. And she's not allowed to do much.
Yeah.
And so what does someone do when they're a teenager and they're not allowed to do much? They sneak out in the middle of the night and they go do things they're not supposed to do. So she ends up going to a brothel.
Well, I don't know if It's a brothel.
It's a brothel.
It's like a bar where some people enact in sexual activities, okay? But it's like a bar.
That's a brothel.
Okay, well, it's called the Red Pearl, and it's a bar with other activities, I guess.
Yes, but it's not a very classy establishment from what I gather.
Sure.
It's very like, I don't know. But anyways, she goes there and she meets up with this guy who she's kind of been creeping on from like a distance for a while because he's like training to be a guard, or he is a guard, I guess. And his name is Hawk, and he ends up being an important character because they end up hooking up, I guess you could say. Well, they kiss. Like, they don't really like...
Because everyone has different terms for hooking up, or like what is hooking up. So where you're at in the novel right now, they have kissed.
Yes, but they haven't had sex, I don't think.
No, I think I would bloody well hope you remembered if they had sex, Scott, because I'd be like, what did you think of this part? Like, hello! No, they did not have sex yet. Or they don't have sex, period.
So anyways, so then after that, her actual guard, like one of her closest guards, gets killed, and there's speculation that he was killed by this guy who they just kind of refer to as the Dark One, who I guess he was a prince or something at some point. He has some sort of tie to royalty or nobility or something, but he's the bad guy. One of the bad guys. Yes,
so he is trying to like take back the throne that he believes is rightfully his, kind of thing. So like you have the people, the king and queen of Jalara. Oh my god, is that the right place? Whatever. You have the king and queen, who Poppy is like under their rule, and everyone else. And then you have the Dark One, who is like the leader of the rebellion, basically. So like Leia, but a guy.
Kind of, yeah. But also, like, they're kind of painting the Duke as, like, a bad guy, too, because he's, like, kind of a jerk to Poppy. Like, he's pretty abusive and, just overall a nice guy. But, okay, I'm kind of deviating from the plot here. So, okay. So, Hawk is now... Okay, so, wait.
Her guard, Rylan, Rylan. We know a Rylan in real life. And when I first read this book, I was like, Rylan? Because I had never heard that name before. So seeing this in this book, I was like, what the heck? But anyways, Rylan died.
It's a pretty common name, I think. I've met a couple of Rylans.
Well, excuse me. I've never met anyone but one. But anyways, he dies.
Yes.
Hawk is now her other royal guard, because her main royal guard is Victor, who's like her father figure.
Right. And Victor seems like kind of a badass, to be honest. Like
I love Victor.
He seems like, you don't want to mess with Victor.
So what happened at the very end of the section that you just read?
Okay, so at the very end of the section, it looks like the castle fortress, the Rise, I guess they call it, is invaded by this black smog, this like mist that comes over the castle. And Poppy's like, oh no, I need to leave like right now because she doesn't want to get killed. She doesn't want to get attacked. And as she's leaving, she bumps into Victor, and they see that what's in the mist is a bunch of Craven, which are like these zombie vampire-ish sort of creatures. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. She's just like leaving and kind of confronting this horde of Craven that's supposedly coming after her.
Yeah. So yeah, she's not running away because Poppy doesn't run away. She's gonna go fight.
Okay, I thought she was running away.
No, Poppy is badass, Scott. You're gonna see, because Victor taught her how to fight, right?
Right.
And she's not supposed to know how to fight, but she is freaking badass. Okay, she's gonna just, you'll see. Like, she's not running away. She would never run away. Okay. I know this in my heart. Okay, and I've also read the books. So, what are your thoughts? Is this different than what you thought it would be? Like, how are you feeling so far?
Well, I thought it would be a little heavier in the romance department because it's sort of like billed as a romance, in a lot of ways. But, I mean, there is a bit of that aspect to it, but I think just the fantasy and like the gothic horror sort of aspects to it, I'm really enjoying. Like the different types of monsters and like all the lore and everything. Even just like the description of like, you know, the blood trees and like the what are they called? The roses that only bloom at night and stuff. It's like very like fantastical, and it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, I'm grinning from ear to ear, listeners. This is making me so happy. My hope is that you'll love this book and be like, I need to know what happens next because I have the other ones and I will totally read them again. You don't have to convince me. I'll read it again. No problem. Don't worry about the romance because it will come.
I'm sure.
Pun intended. It will happen. Okay. So, any questions so far about what you've read? Thoughts? Any part that you're like, whoa, or like, what the hell, man? Or
I mean, off the top of my head, not really, but I guess like it seems like there's a lot that we don't really know about. Like, we don't really know what happens with Ascension. We don't really know what happens or why things are the way they are, or like why when people get ascended, like you basically never hear from them again, but what's actually going on, right? So I feel like there's some stuff that the author intentionally doesn't want us to know yet, and it's just kind of like foreshadowing.
Yeah.
So I don't want to pry too deep into that because I don't know.
I'm not going to answer because this is the problem. It took me so long to convince Nikki and Tilly. Well, I don't want to say to convince, but because I think they were both into the idea of reading this book, but I kept saying like, you need to read this book. Oh my God, we got to do it on the podcast. I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah.
And whenever they asked me, what is it about? I was like, well, there's a maiden. She can't do anything. Blah, blah, blah. There's a guy. That's it. Because I can't tell you anything because there's so many reveals that if I say something, it's going to ruin the whole book.
Yeah.
So,
but you can say it's like a fantasy.
Yeah.
You could say it's like a romance. You can say some stuff. But yeah, I understand.
I couldn't say like anything. And so I just had to sit there biting my tongue, smiling like a treasure cat, trying not to ruin it because I love it. And by the end of this book, I'm hoping if you finish it before Halloween, because I mean, at the time of this recording, it's almost October, or at this part of the recording anyways. I'm hoping to convince you to be Hawk to my Poppy. And listeners, Scott asked me, why would I want to be Hawk? And I was like, if you have to ask, you haven't read enough yet. Because why would you not want to be Hawk with Poppy? Okay? Keep reading and you'll be like, oh, this is why Kelly wants this. Anyways, I can't wait to keep reading this with you. I think I'm really surprised you're enjoying it, but I'm like happily surprised because I didn't go into this thinking like, he's gonna suffer through this, but I was just really hopeful that you would like it and not make fun of me. So this is going well.
I don't know. I like to keep an open mind with these sort of things, and no, it's pretty good.
Do you want to make any predictions or like something you're looking forward to that you want to happen maybe?
Okay. I think, here's my hot take. And maybe this is way off base, but like it just occurred to me, I think in like maybe a couple chapters before I finish this section. But the part where the Duke is like reprimanding Poppy and he kind of reveals that he used to know Poppy's mother. Right? Which, like, you don't get a lot of details from it, but it kind of reminded me of Professor Snape in Harry Potter, where, like, there was, like, some weird, like, sexual tension between Harry's mom and Snape.
Well, I think that was one-sided sexual tension, but okay, sure.
Okay, well, whatever.
Like, dream on, Severus. Oh, you can't because you're dead. Anyways, okay, keep going.
Okay, well, whatever. There was something there, okay? So I don't know if maybe, like, something similar happens between, like, the Duke and Poppy's mom, but that's what I think. I think maybe the relationship was more important than he's making it seem like it is. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And maybe that's why he's so, like...
Awful and,
like...
abusive.
Yeah. Just,
literally abusive.
Just resents her existence, basically.
Well, I'm not going to say anything because I want you to just find out what happens.
All right. Well, keep asking me these questions.
Yeah, because it's a podcast, Scott. We are here to discuss. We're giving the people what they want, okay? Hopefully. And if you don't want it, you can skip on right ahead. So until next time, we are now going to read chapter 15 to about 27?
Yes, exactly 27.
Okay, so I'm already past that mark, and I've had to wait for Scott to catch up, but that's okay. I will wait. I will wait for you, as Mumford & Sons once said beautifully. Hey everybody, we're back. We're here to wrap up our From Blood and Ash read-along with a special guest, my husband Scott, and Nikki is finally here to join us.
Yeah, hey everybody. I cannot wait to hear all of the stuff Scott has to say about this amazing book.
Well, that was the time. So, hello everybody. I'm back.
I am so excited. I will say a little, not a disclaimer, but I'll speak the truth. I did ask Scott, did he like it? I did ask him, did you guess one of these plot twists? But I didn't go any further than that because I wanted to save it all for this. So you're welcome. I've been dying to know.
It's been hard not talking about it, I think.
Yeah. It's been eating me up inside, and I'm just so excited that we're finally here. We found the time. Nikki is here, reunited, and it feels so good. So, since we last spoke about this book, we had just finished chapter 15, and then I was waiting for Scott to finish it, and then I got tired of waiting, so I just finished, and then I continued to wait for him to finish. But I'm happy to report you finished it, which is great. You met the requirements.
I feel like there was a lull in the second third of the book where I found it I wasn't reading as much. I mean, I'm not you know this already. I'm not a very avid reader to begin with, but it took me a while to get through the second third of the book, but the last third of the book was a day or two, just pretty much, one go. Read a lot.
Yeah.
It was good. A lot happened.
So last year, Scott read one book. This year, he's doubled his reading goal.
Yes.
And he read 2.
Wow.
I love that. We're all for progress.
Yes! And last year, Scott read Dune by
Frank Herbert.
Yep.
Exactly. And I want to know, I've already asked you, but I want this on the record. What was that?
No, it's just I know where this is going.
Did you like Dune or From Blood and Ash better?
I'll be honest, I liked From Blood and Ash better.
Yes.
What, it's hard? Sorry, people don't come at me.
Well, I feel like people are going to get upset because it's such a beloved, book and everything. But the thing about Dune is, I finished the book. And I'm a huge fan of Star Wars, but after I read the book, I was like, man, Star Wars ripped off so much of Dune, so many themes. I won't get too into it, but because that's what we're here to talk about today.
We're definitely not talking about Dune in depth.
I could do a whole other episode all about Dune. Yeah.
I've had no desire to read it. I don't need to, but I was so tickled when you said that to me. I was like, yes. But yeah, so I'm dying to know. I want to know what you thought about the twists in this book.
So are we okay to get into spoilers?
Yes.
Okay, so
we've already read this.
First and foremost, I did not see the Hawk twist coming at all. I did not see him being evil or him being the Dark One. It was in retrospect a little sus how close he got to Poppy so quickly, they just kind of gave him a lot of responsibility without really knowing much about him, even when they had a ton of other people around, but I just chalked it up to like, oh, well, he's the love interest, blah, 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 whatever.
Would you say you were also not suspicious because you were so into their love?
Well, I mean, I think honestly, I was more into like the lore and like the, you know, world building and stuff that Jennifer was doing than like the romance, but like, you know, it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of romance in your book. Like, it's fine.
You know those TikToks where it shows someone asking a question and then their partner is like, no, and then they turn back and they get like the angry face like thing on? That's how I'm feeling right now, because I'm like, but the romance is the book.
Yeah.
Who cares about the world development? Whatever, what world?
I thought it was cool. No, I was into all the like the themes and like not knowing what was really going on with like the Atlanteans and the Ascended throughout like most of the book. Like I had a very different theory as to what was going on with them.
Okay.
Like I knew that they were connected in some way just because like the descriptions and like there was so much secrecy around both of them that like you knew they were kind of connected. But I thought that they were more working together as opposed to like
Interesting.
yeah, as opposed to like one is basically like enslaving the other and like it's
not
just
working
like
together.
yeah,
Not on purpose.
no.
Oh my gosh.
But no, like I thought it was kind of cute how like all the like creatures and stuff in the book were like little twists on like, you know, actual gothic horror like monsters and stuff. Like the Craven were like their version of zombies, or like the Ascended were like their version of vampires, or they had like some other term for werewolves. I don't remember what it was, but the Wolven,
because they're not werewolves. They don't need the moon to shift. They shift when they want. I've explained this, okay?
right? but like they're very
And
much.
they're massive. They're not like a little
Oh,
wolf.
they're different.
Like,
they're different.
Like Rowliths, you know?
They're different,
Yeah.
but they're definitely derivative for sure.
Yes. I just can't believe he was like, yeah, obviously you need to have some romance in there. It is a romantasy. Keyword romantasy. Like, it's
Yeah.
more romance than fantasy. It
But-
is in the fantasy section at work.
Yeah.
However, like, I do enjoy the plot, obviously, and like the fantastical elements, but like, yeah, I'm there for Poppy and Hawk, and now I can say Castile, finally. My
Well,
God.
Hey, yeah, I was just gonna say, can we all like commend Kelly, because she is gonna spend the rest of her godforsaken life pulling people into this book and having to call Castile Hawk all of the time. Like, I do not know how you did that for Tilly and I don't know how you did that for Scott. I'm so bad with stuff like that. I would have been like, oh yeah, Castile, and it would have been like, what? And it would have been like, oh, you haven't met him yet.
Yeah.
Even when I do hashtags for Instagram, I'm like, oh my God, if I put Castile, is someone going to know? And then I've ruined the book for them. Like,
It's very thoughtful of you.
So, because like I loved it when I first read it. Obviously, we all know this. That's why we're here again. But it's like I didn't want to ruin it because it's such a big part of the plot.
Yeah.
And like I knew when I was reading the book, I was like, oh, clearly he's going to be the dark one. I didn't know how it would happen, but I was just like, I know it's going to be that way because it's the enemies to lovers trope, you know? But I didn't know all the stuff that came with it, so it was still exciting for me to figure out. But like that was one of the first things I wanted to know from Scott. I was like, did you know that Hawk was like a double agent of sorts?
I definitely didn't. No.
Oh my gosh, do you understand why I love this book now? Or like why I love Hawk / Castile now?
Yeah, he's just like a very genuine. Like it's I don't know. Like he's genuine, but he's not. Right?
Man, there are like few times I wish that we had cameras on us, but that was definitely one of them. Scott's sitting in between Kelly and I right now, and the look Kelly and I just gave each other is so telling.
But like,
I love you, Scott, but you're so wrong. You're so wrong.
no, I think so. Like he was like his feelings towards her were like he wasn't like pretending. I don't think.
I can't say anything because you only read the first book.
Okay, well maybe I'm wrong.
I just can't say anything, but I just love... if any of you want to rewind when you listen to this, I was like, you're so wrong. He was like, no, I don't think so. But we're talking about my feelings about this character.
All right.
But no, I'm in love with him. I mean, you too. Obviously, we're talking about a fictional character. But no, when I'm next Halloween, I will be Poppy. If you don't want to be Hawk, we'll figure that out. But I think you should, because that'd be great.
I will say by the end of the book, and this might not be something that you enjoy me hearing, but I think I was actually rooting more for Hawk at the end of the book than I was for Poppy. If I'm being completely honest.
Okay, elaborate.
Well,
please.
because the whole description of how he was held for 50 years and forced to it just sounded horrible. And so to me, I was like, you're messing up this guy's plan. He's finally going to get revenge on these assholes. And Poppy was being such a drama queen. She was just so annoying at the end of the book. I was totally rooting for yeah, totally.
She had nothing to do with that though. She didn't even know. And she's not even, she's 19.
This was after he spilled the beans on what was actually going on with the Ascended and all that.
He was imprisoned and enslaved for 50 years. She's 19 years old.
Yeah.
She had nothing to do with this.
No, I know, I understand,
so
but
well,
because she's already trying to run away, and she's only been in prison for 15 minutes.
She has been imprisoned her whole life in a different way. Okay,
that's true.
So,
but even still, that's even more reason to go after the Ascended.
Yeah, but also this was the first person she cared about romantically and sexually. So it's this guy you're into, and then suddenly he's like, actually, I'm not who I said I was, and I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, I just was rooting more for Hawk in that, or Castile, I guess, in that moment.
Okay.
So.
That's interesting.
That's my hot take.
That's interesting. Okay. When Victor died.
That scene was really intense.
Yes.
That was really good. I enjoyed the action. And that's one thing I think From Blood and Ash did a lot better than Dune was the pacing. Mm-hmm. It was just once you get...
It's hard not to do pacing better than Dune because, man, that guy could stretch shit out.
Yeah.
God. Good God.
But no, I thought the pacing of the book was pretty good. Like I said, there was one section kind of in the middle where I think they were kind of focusing a little more on the banter and a little less on progressing the plot, where I found it a little slow. But yeah, once you get into it, it's pretty good.
The banter. We love the banter.
Yeah.
It's not a slow part for us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, well, hey, that just shows that, there's more aspects to the book than just, you know, the romance and the flirting and whatnot.
I remember when I started reading the book, and I was maybe 3 pages in, and I go, Kelly, what the fuck is this? This book is so badly written. And then I got to when they make out in the inn, and I was like, never mind, I take it back. I love this book.
He throws the dagger in the mattress beside her.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. I don't want that to happen. Just full disclosure, I don't want knives around me.
I don't own any daggers, so I think you're
great. Did I tell you, I was on a first date in high school at this person's house, this guy's house. And he was like, look at all my pets. He had a bajillion pets and lizards and a dog and all these things. I was like, okay, cool. And then he was like, my coin collection. I was like, okay. And then he was like, this is my knife collection. And he had a switchblade. And he was like, this is illegal to own. And I was like, oh my God, why am I here? Yeah, I'm okay. I survived. We're not together anymore. But I was like, oh my God, what happened? Yeah, that was an interesting time in my life. But anyways.
That's so funny.
Literally, he was like, coins, lizards, knives. First date at his house.
That's a lot to take in.
Yeah, his room was in the basement. So it was danger zone. Danger.
He literally pulled out a switchblade on you.
Yeah. And it was not like West Side Story. Like, it wasn't like...
There wasn't, like, snappy music playing in the background and, like, a nice choreographed dance.
No. And I don't remember. He might have been the same person who, like, he pulled out his guitar and he started playing Three Doors Down. And I was like, yeah, it was that time. I was like, okay. Like,
picturing his, like, collection of lizards that are doing, like, the snap.
Anyways, speaking of knives, when earlier in this episode, you were like, Poppy's running away from this fight or whatever, and I was like, oh, no, she doesn't run away, like, she fights. How freaking badass was Poppy in this book? Like, would you watch a movie or a show like this?
I think they should make a movie or a show about this kind of thing. Like, yeah, I think a lot of people would be into it.
I think so.
There's a big trend right now for doing, a lot more fantasy-themed TV shows, which, like back 20 years ago, you had, like, the Lord of the Rings movies were huge, but you didn't really have a lot of, like, fantasy content like that on TV. But now you got, like, The Witcher, you've got the Lord of the Rings TV series, you got all the Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
It's just, like, all over the place.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they could totally make a Netflix show out of this or something.
Well, and there's, like, none with female leads. Or if there are, it's like, we took a story and made it with a girl.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, they did one on Netflix that had a female lead, didn't they? It was like
Did they?
Shadow and Bone or something?
Oh, that's based off a book.
Yeah,
there you
that's a good like ensemble cast. Like I wouldn't
Yeah.
say there's like a female lead because they're kind of all like displayed kind of
Yeah, especially
similarly.
Yeah, like the adaptation, because they included like Six of Crows and all
Yeah.
that. It's not so much about whatever the main girl's name is. I don't remember. I've read the books. I don't
Not
remember.
Inej, is it? That's a
No,
different one.
that's Six of Crows. She's one of the six of the crows. But yeah, no, I would kill to watch this. I would kill to be Poppy. Oh my god. Like, I just want to, like,
Scott,
fuck shit
just
up.
like be Hawk, please.
Yeah.
Like so she can just live her freaking dream for
My
one day.
romantasy.
Like find a willow tree somewhere and just like
There are many in
live
the
your
city.
life.
Yeah, we were driving by the river, all those willow trees there. I was pointing it out.
Hey, that reminds me, when he finally got to the willow scene, I was like, so what'd you think? And he was like, oh yeah, there was some canoodling. I'm like, excuse me?
That was much more than canoodling.
Yeah.
That was like just pure emotional romantic tension.
Yeah. And then just full
perfect.
on, like, sexual tension,
Yeah.
and then no more
Ugh.
tension because she was on him. You know what I mean?
And then Victor came and ruined it all.
Yeah, and then he had to go and die. But then she, like, messed up. What's his name? I don't even care. The Lord. Brandel Mazine or Nazine.
I
whatever.
really hate that name. There are just some like questionable nouns in this book.
Knowing Jennifer, it's probably like Brandole or something. Like, we have no freaking idea. Or like Brandon. We have no idea.
Oh my god,
You'll see later. Because, are you still on board? He did say to me he wanted to read the second one.
I'll read the second one.
Yes. The first and the second one are the best ones, in my opinion. Because, like, this, it, like, keeps the, like, true heart of it. I find the third and fourth one gets, like, kind of convoluted. And
Like,
it's
what do you
just,
mean convoluted?
like, she's really grasping at shit to keep the story going.
Okay.
But at the end of the fourth one, that plot line kind of ends.
Yeah.
And there's more books, right? Two
Yes.
more?
There's 2 more planned, and she said, this is where I get annoyed, but there's 2 more planned, and she said there's a possibility of, like, if she wanted to do something in Castile's point of view, it would be a separate thing. So,
Right.
like, a la Stephanie Meyer, or Myers, whatever her name is.
Right.
Myers?
Yeah.
Twilight? Is there an
Stephanie
S?
I don't know anymore.
I'm like, I don't know.
This is like when people ask me how to spell vacuum. I'm like, I don't know. I can't remember.
Well, that series, I know that she had something in Edward's point of view, but it was like a separate book. So she, wasn't it?
No, it was Twilight from his perspective.
But it was like a separate.
Like it wasn't
Yeah.
in the book.
Yeah.
It was its own book, but it was telling the same story.
Okay.
I don't want that. Like, I don't care about that. I want just, like, later
Yeah.
Castile. Actually, I don't even really care about Castile. I really am more on board with, like, Kieran now.
Oh my god. Oh, did you like Kieran?
Which one was Kieran?
Wow. The werewolf.
Oh, the werewolf guy. Not really. I mean, I didn't find him very memorable. Like, yeah, I don't know. I like Castile.
Interesting.
I like Castile a lot.
Oh, you do?
Do you?
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, all that to say, the first two are my favorite because it keeps true to, like, the story. I like the original story, I feel like, the most.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also like the further away we get from Castile being Hawk, the sadder I get because I love Hawk.
Yeah. I can't even say what I want to say because he hasn't read this yet.
Say what you want
But
to say.
I will vaguely say that there is a point in one of the books where I was kind of upset for a little bit because I just felt like his character was shifting, but too far to make it, like, more pleasant, like, more settled. And, like, I get that people change, but I was like, where's the fire? Because, like, we've been married for 7 years, together for a little longer, but, like, we've changed, but it's not like, you're just, yes, dear, all the time. Like, what the hell is that? I would be so annoyed.
I think that's a complaint that I have too. There's so much. I know you obviously didn't enjoy the banter as much as we enjoyed the banter.
Yes.
But there's so much banter in the first book and, like, teasing and, like, sassiness. And then when they finally, like, acknowledge that they're, like, together and this is, like, a thing, and then they're just like, that all goes away, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't stop being an asshole once I tell somebody I like them. I'm just like, here I am.
If anything, it's
Accept
room
me.
to be more of an asshole,
Right?
because you know that they like you.
Exactly, so you can get away with more.
He was quite an asshole at the end of the book, that's for sure.
Yeah, actually, on this reread, I was like, wow, that was a pretty dick move. Like, I was reading these things, but I was like, I still like you. I still like this.
Okay, but pause for a second. Plug your ears. Just in case.
Okay.
That's not plugging your ears.
What?
Cover it.
I did!
At the end, is it when he's like...
Do you want me to leave the room?
At the end of this one, is it... They're at, like, the other place. Alistair's there.
They're in that little village.
And does he say, like, he's gonna marry her?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Okay, you're good. I want to hear what was your favorite part of this whole adventure thus far.
And if it's not the campfire scene, then it's not the right answer.
I think shortly after the campfire scene, like when the Hawk twist happened and he finally reveals what's actually going on with the Atlanteans and the Ascended, that I think was my favorite part. Because, like, it was so many things that I didn't see coming. And it was something that I had wondered about throughout the whole book. I was just like, hey, just, like, let me know what's going on here. Because, like, I don't know. I just, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was it for me. When Poppy gets captured, she finally finds out what's going on. And, yeah, that was my favorite part. But I did also really like that battle at the Rise, I think they call it, where Victor died. Mm-hmm. That part was really good too.
Oh yeah, that was after the rite.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that was pretty intense.
So it wasn't even at the Rise. It was like in the castle, in the fortress, whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sad.
I know, I loved Victor.
Yeah. So many good moments of tension, like the part that you said was your favorite, that chapter or those few chapters, like the pacing, the tension of like, what is happening? Move, move, move. We gotta go. Oh shit, he died. Oh my god, they're running after me. Oh, like all this stuff. Crazy. It was so good. I love it. I love it so much. And I want to know, yeah, do you have any questions that I can answer, that we can answer? Any, like, surprises that you were like, what? Besides the twist, obviously. Like, the big twist.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe what your favorite part was? Like, what did you think?
Well, I have so many tabs in here, as you know. But I guess overall, my favorite part of this book is not necessarily one specific scene, but it's the journey that Poppy goes on from being like, I don't have any agency to like, I'm going to explore things. And this frickin' guy comes in and like rocks her world, but like lifts her up where it's not like, not that I don't like those kind of books either, but like, it's not the case where it's like, I'm here to show you the way or whatever, you know? Like, he is in a sense, but she has more agency than I think other books with this kind of trope of like, I don't know anything, I'm a virgin, blah, 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 you know? Like, he obviously still, like, shows her things and, like, whatever, and, like, is there for her. But, like, I just love seeing her grow in this and explore. I love the willow scene. The campfire's great. The frickin' red pearl is great. And they have a special chapter in his point of view where you hear things before she shows up. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, like at the very beginning. You see things that happen right before she comes in the room. And so that gives you like more insight into like the inner workings of everything. So like that was actually really valuable and not just like, oh, it's him, you know?
I
like,
will say Poppy at the beginning of the book reminded me a lot of you in a lot of ways. And so I really liked Poppy at the beginning of the book. And by the end of the book, I feel like she, like something changed and she was just a little less likable. And so...
Why?
I don't know. She was just like she was told how it is, and then she responded in the exact wrong way, the exact way that I would not have responded to that new information.
But wouldn't you be kind of confused? Because, like, you've grown up hearing all these things. It's indoctrinated in you, and with someone who just, like, pulled the rug under you and had sex with her right after.
True.
She's a matron.
I mean, it's not like she was a huge fan of the Ascended to begin with, right? Like, they kind of put her through the ringer throughout most of her life.
Yeah.
You know, she led a very sheltered life. She led a very, you know, she wasn't allowed to do a whole lot, right? So, if I were her, I would have felt a lot more resentment, you know? Like, I would have felt a little more like, hey, let's get back at these a-holes, you know? So, but her response was, oh, I'm going to run away?
Well, because this guy's supposed to be evil, right? Like, she's like, oh my god, what do I do? But also, she does say in the book, so you're going to just send me right back to these awful people?
Yeah.
You're not going to, like, help me?
Right? I don't know.
That's what the book says. I didn't make it up. Okay? That's what it says. What's your favorite part, Nikki? We know you love the campfire.
Sure. Everybody loves the campfire.
What a twist that was,
right?
first of all. Like,
Kelly teased me with that scene for like ever. Like, that's why I read the book, because she kept going like, oh, they travel and on the journey. There's this moment. Yeah. But I think really, like, I read quite a bit of like fantasy stuff. Well, not anymore. That doesn't have romance, but I grew up reading a lot of fantasy that was straight fantasy. And for me, this was kind of getting back into that fantasy genre. And I was really in it for the romance. I thought it was so much fun. I love the banter.
Yes.
The banter is where it's at.
Yes.
And so that was really it for me. Like, even if it wouldn't have had like all of the kind of like spicier parts or whatever, this one doesn't have a lot of like spice in it, but even just like the few, even if that wasn't there, the tension between the two of them was like so good I would have still been like flipping through like crazy to get this book done.
Yeah. I read these two books back to back, Scott, when I first read it. And thank God, because I couldn't have waited at the end of this book where he's like, you're going to marry me. What'd you think of that ending?
I mean, it's pretty good foreshadowing. It's a pretty good cliffhanger. So
when I read that, I was like, yes, she is.
Yeah, right? we had a mutual friend of ours was like, I don't know how I feel about that. And I think Tilly also felt kind of like that. Of like, I don't know about this whole marriage thing. And I was like, please get married. I was like, please. I need this.
I think this book is not good for people who center themselves too much in reality. Because obviously, if that happened to you in real life and you were kidnapped and you had sex with a man and then he was keeping you hostage and then he was going to force you to marry him, you obviously wouldn't like that. But
presumably,
like unless maybe you were a little sick.
Yeah.
But in this situation, I was like, yes, please. I can remove myself from reality quite easily.
Oh, yeah. I was like, you can run, you can't hide, and you can't really run either, because he's super fast. So, like, don't bother.
Just stay right there.
Yes. Please. I will say, for myself personally, I found the second book kind of slow at times, but you might like it because it is very much about the world building. And there's a lot of travel, which, you know me, I'm not really into the road trip movies and all that stuff. So I was like, oh my god, the traveling.
Like,
the friggin' horse is like...
How many years did it take for you to get through Lord of the Rings? Like,
I did it in a few months this year.
That's true.
Thank you. Yeah, I did. I read way more books than you, Scott.
oh, hey, I'm just saying that that's an example of lots of traveling.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. That's a if Tolkien wrote some steamy scenes in there, there'd be a whole other audience.
I don't know how that would have been. Just with the writing style, I just can't see that going quite the right way.
But also, who would he have chosen? There'd be some weird, sick Gollum thing in there.
Sam and Gollum.
Oh, I was going to say Sam and Frodo.
No,
I'm here.
It'd be Gollum getting on Sam when he's sleeping or something.
Legolas and Gimli.
No. I rebuke it. They're just really good friends.
Yeah, who want to have sex. That's okay.
I mean, Gimli is a good height for things. But
they both have a lot of hair to keep track of though and get out of the way. But I mean, I don't know what works.
They
for
could
people.
braid it together. It'd be really romantic.
You know how some people like to shave each other? They'd have so much opportunity. Anyways, this it's gone in a weird direction. But any final thoughts, Scott? Anything you are dying to get out?
I think I've said my piece. You
didn't rate it.
So what's our rating scale? Is it out of 5?
5 being, oh my god, amazing. 1 being, what the fuck was this? N.K. Jemisin. I'm joking. Just that one book that we read.
Oh, I have something funny to tell you regarding that after this.
Okay.
I'll give it a 4.
A 4.
4.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I was just scared that you wouldn't even finish it. So, honestly, and now you want to read the second one?
Yeah, I'll read it.
Love it. I'm gonna have to get another copy because I gave you my battered up annotated one. I'm not giving you the new fresh one. I'm sorry, I love you, but Nikki, when I tell you he was reading the book like this, I was like, thank God this copy's already ruined because there's no way you're touching my other copy of that, okay? And I can't give you my Kobo to borrow because that's a private device, so. It's a personal device, so.
Yeah, if you weren't into the Willow scene, you're not going to be into the game. I'm going to tell you that.
Just wait. It gets steamier. Each book gets more and more steamy.
Oh, boy.
And you'll fall in love with Castile more and more.
And Kieran.
Yep.
Well, I feel I didn't know Kieran. I didn't... I feel he didn't have that big of a part, did he?
Well,
I can't remember.
He's not in the first one very much because she's just entering that world, kind of thing, quote unquote world.
Yeah.
His sphere, I guess. But yeah, he will become a bigger part. And yeah.
Okay.
Love it. I can't wait. Love it. Oh my god. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a wild ride for me. I can't wait to read the next book with you, Scott. Maybe we'll check in. It probably won't be like this. It'll probably just be one and done. What did you think of the second one? Do you want to keep going? Whatever, if we end up doing that. But thank you so much for participating, Scott. I'm glad that we didn't scare you away with this book. And thank you, Nikki, for joining us.
Yes, it was so much fun.
who knows? Maybe we'll have some more fun shenanigans with our partners in the future. We shall see. But until then, keep on drinking in great stories, and we'll see you next time. Cheers!